Welcome to Gold Coast meeting for, what month is this? September, right?
Still September.
Is it March yet?
I think it's October.
Yeah, almost there. Tonight we
Tomorrow's
have,
the first day of fall.
what's that?
Tomorrow's the first day of fall.
I know, and it's going to warm up tomorrow too. So summer's over with.
Yeah.
Tonight we have image competition. We have 3 wonderful judges, but before we get to them, next month, October 19th, I believe it is, on a Monday, we have John Grews, and he's going to be talking, I believe, about night photography. So it should be an interesting program. Anybody that wants to show up is welcome. Sacramento, if you guys want to show up, Channel Islands, etc., you're all welcome to show up and join us. We're sharing everything with everybody. The recorded versions, we'll share with you too. I'm easy.
Thank you.
For those Gold Coast members, elections are going to be coming up soon. So if you're interested in being on the board, now would be a good time to speak up, because we are going to need some new people on the board next year, I think. We're not sure what direction we're going right now. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you step up and take over the helm. That being said, I have 3 wonderful ladies that are going to be joining us tonight to judge. If you've been a member of Gold Coast for a long time, all 3 have spoken at Gold Coast before. Sharon Shepard is an artist, or is it artiste? She is like a super artist. She embarrasses me something fierce because I can't draw a straight line with the ruler, and she's out there just doing her thing. One image, I think I judged it at Channel Islands, and I asked you how many layers you had in it after we were done. You said 183 layers.
At 100, I know which one you're talking about. I think it was about 125.
The one with the fisherman and the boat and a bay.
No, it was the rodeo clown.
Okay, you had another one that was multiple layers. So, but she also does painting by hand and does crafts and jewelry, and I hate people like that. Oh wait, I'm being recorded. I love you, Sharon. And we also have as judge number 1, Kimberly Roker out of Sacramento. She is actually, it's not Sacramento you're from. What city is it? Rockland?
Rockland. Yeah,
Rockland.
close enough. I'm a half hour
from Sacramento.
Yep.
She's also been to Gold Coast recently, talking about doing bar and bat mitzvahs. That's her big specialty, and she's really good at it. And then we also have Suzanne Hamilton, who was just recently at Gold Coast and was supposed to come this year, I believe in May, but she chickened out just because we have something called COVID or something. I don't know. I wish we could have got her up here, because I was looking forward to an all-day seminar with her. So she does a lot of desktop, and her work is fantastic as well. All 3 of these guys are like fantastic. So what they say, take to heart. If you want to improve your stuff, if you don't want to improve your stuff, just listen to what they say and move on. We're going to bring up images one at a time like we always do, and they're going to score.
I'm sorry. Can you tell me the second judge's name again? Because I missed it.
Judge number 1, Sharon Shepard. Judge number 2, Kimberly Olker.
No, you got it reversed.
Got us switched.
Okay, judge number 1, Kimberly Olker. Judge number 2, Sharon Shepard. Judge number 3, Suzanne Hamilton.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry about that. It's been a long day, okay? And I'm still sore. That being said, I'm going to start my share screen right now.
Can I ask one thing, Michael?
Yes, you may.
Because I know every image comp can vary from one affiliate to another. At our affiliate, we score, but we also give feedback. We take turns, one judge at it per image, unless there's a challenge. Do you do something similar?
We do. We'll probably have all three judges. If you guys could keep your comments short, we can have all three judges make a quick comment if you like.
Sure.
If we start going too long, then we'll cut it back to 2 or 1. But I think it's better to have all three judges give a comment.
Okay.
Cool. And you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The reason I put this up there so you guys can kind of color balance your screen with this nice lady here. She is black and white and colors and all kinds of good stuff. So once you feel comfortable with that, we're going to go ahead and go to our first category. Come on. Okay. First category is children. And you can see it kind of gives you a guide on our screenshot there. Images of a child or children. So the children's category is of children. Makes sense, I hope. First one up is "That was a strike, Mr. Umpire." That was a strike, Mr. Umpire. And judge number 2, there you go. Cool. That scores an 85. And judge number 1, I'm going to let you go first.
I scored it an 84 in the top of the deserving of merit. I might have underscored a bit. It's just adorable. I love the lighting. I think the black and white was done very well, and the expression and the story with the title is great. Nicely done.
And judge number 2.
I also thought it was great. I scored it at 85, and I felt like I could go higher too. But the one thing that kept me down a little bit is I felt like there was some light spots on the shirt, and really the face should have at least equally as light of areas or lighter. So my eyes keep kind of going down to the clothing. So that was the only thing that held me back. I love the expression. I love the background. I thought that there was nice value changes. I thought it was great. I think it could easily score higher with just a couple little corrections.
Okay. And judge number 3.
I scored it an 85 in the excellent category. And much of what I was going to say has been said. The technical excellence, I think, is there. The presentation is beautiful. I like the style. Great, storytelling. So can't add too much more than that.
All right. Thank you, judges. That scored an 85. And next up is winner and new champion. And I got to get it to, there we go. Winner and new champion.
Oh. Did you get that, Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That scores an 82. And judge number 2, Sharon, you're up first.
Well, I scored it at 83, I believe. I don't think this has as much impact expression-wise, but the colors are wonderful as far as the background. There's a lot of depth in it. The lighting is really nice. Maybe the one arm is just a little light on the right-hand side. So my eye goes there rather than the face. But I thought it was wonderful. So I scored it an 83.
And judge number 3?
I scored this an 80, deserving of a merit. I'm enjoying the story here. And for me, the technical excellence is that, as Sharon pointed out, the brightest part is on our right, his arm, and probably should be on his face. So.
Okay. And judge number 1?
I actually scored it an 84 and was questioning that. A lot of what I was going to say has already been said. I agree that my eye was not going to face first. It was either going to the arm or the rib cage and armpit on the left side. I think it's adorable. I like the title. I think it would score even higher with the toned down brighter spots, and also if there was more of a connection. Like I'd really like to see the eyes on this. But I think it's a nice image.
Okay. Overall, it scored an 82. And we're going to go to the commercial category, which may include industrial, tabletop, advertising, stock, web page, blah, 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 blah. You do not have to have a tear sheet, and you don't have to have anything to show where it was used. So it works better if you do, but you don't have to. And first image up is spill the beans. Spill the beans. That scores an 82. And judge number 3, you're up.
I scored this an 83, I think. Is that right, Michael?
You scored this an 83.
Yes. Deserving of a merit. I really enjoy this. The technical excellence is spot on. The color harmony is beautiful. I like the story. It's got a story. I like the position of the, or not I like, but the position of the bowl is nice. So kind of on the rule of thirds. If I were to try and make an improvement on this, I might tone down the highlight a little bit on the edge of the bowl in those 2 places, just a tad, and maybe move the spot down just an inch or 2 so it's more on the beans and on the back of the bowl.
Okay, judge number 1.
I scored this in 82. What it got from all of us. I think very well done. I enjoy this. The lighting is beautiful, and I would probably go higher. I was a little distracted by the matte color. I think something maybe a little darker might have helped raise the score a bit. And I'm a bit drawn to the lower left side where there seems to be a quicker transition from the shadows to the lighter part of the wood. But well done with the maker. I think the concept, the title, and the lighting, it's all beautiful.
Okay. And judge number 2?
I scored it an 80, and the reason I scored it an 80, although I love the light goes, I mean, the light is beautiful in the center. My eye goes right to the area that I felt like the photographer wanted me to look at, the coffee beans in the bowl, and those are just really well lit. But what kept me back a little bit was, one, the mat, and the stroke was a little bright. The mat was too colorful. It tends to pull the eye away. And even though it's the same colors as what's in the bowl, it is more saturated, brighter, so it pulls your eye away. And another thing that kept me back a little bit was the coffee beans around the bottom line, the bottom edge. It's kind of sharp. And so there's like a line, kind of a triangle line there. And it felt like if they'd been scattered a little bit more, that would have softened that line, and it would have been, my eye tends to kind of go to that line because of the contrast there between the light table and the darker beans above it. So it pulled my eye down. So for those reasons, I only scored it an 80. But I think with a little bit of change, it could easily be a higher score.
All right. Thank you, judges. That's the end of the commercial category. Next category is illustrative, or as Roger Danes like to say, illustrative. Images representing alternative type of creativity, photography, or not meeting the requirements of any other category. So this is kind of the catch-all section we have here. First up is Homage to Juan Sanchez Cortin, number 1. And that scores an 80. And judge number 1, you're up.
Okay, I really like the creativity of this image and the placement of all the subjects, drawing your eye across the image. You kind of go around with it. I think the maker had some thought put into that, and it was done very nicely. As far as things I could see to have gone higher, because I scored it at an 80, just at the beginning of deserving of a merit. There's a couple of areas where it, like at the bottom of the cabbage head leaf that's hanging down, where I'm seeing some like, smudging, or it's some of the gray of the underneath going over the leaf. So it was a couple of concerns with technical excellence that would have kept me from going higher. But I really think it was creative, and I like how it was framed in the frame.
And judge number 2?
I scored an 81, I think. Isn't that right, Michael?
81.
Yeah. I thought it was really clever, and for that reason, I gave it an 81. There were some issues, I thought. One, the cantaloupe, which my eye goes to, which is great because it's the bright color and the texture and the center and everything, but it felt like the back edge of that frame was sharper than those seeds in the cantaloupe, and I felt like the seeds should have been sharper. And I also saw a little bit of a haloing around some of the edges. But even though the yellow pear up at the top is a bright color, my eye doesn't really go to it. It goes up and then it follows right down and back into that cantaloupe. But I just thought there was some soft soft areas and sharp lines that didn't quite make sense, and that's why I kept it at 81. But other than that, I love the whole feeling of it. It had a real abstract look, and I thought it was great.
Okay, and judge number 3.
I scored this a 79 in the above average category. I think it's impactful when it first comes up, and the idea is very creative. I'm a little baffled with the storytelling part of it because I didn't understand the title. And there's some technical excellent issues in terms of, there's like a highlight on the right side of the pear, but that pear is in shadow, so I'm not sure where that came from. And then, as been mentioned, when you're putting fruit in or anything, it should look luscious, I think. So could be a little cleanup, but that could be part of the title that I didn't understand.
Okay, that's scored an 80. And judges, if you could do me a favor, if you could put one word in with your score, so I know which ones we're scoring, because I've got a whole bunch of numbers coming up here, and I'm
Sure.
easily confused. It's
Yes.
my blonde roots are showing.
What do you want us to put in there, like our initial or something?
No, just like
One word from the
one
title.
word from the title.
Oh, you mean we
Like-
got to remember the title now?
Or
Okay.
say cantaloupe or something, so I know which one it is.
Okay.
Because I've got like a string of
Right.
numbers coming down from all the judges, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it's hard to keep track of which is the latest one and which one was that for.
Exactly. And when you're slow like me. Okay. Next image is horse with no name. Horse with no name. Scores an 81. And Sharon, you're up first.
I gave it an 83. I kind of moved my score up because I really enjoy it. I was going to score just a little bit lower because there's a few things that were kind of holding me back. One of them is I love the position of the horse. I love it looking back into the image. I like the room over to the right side. I like all of that. And then my eye goes right to the horse's eyes, so, and the ears. I just thought that was really well done. And the detail in the face is really nice. What held me back was the tail looks cut out. The other part of the horse looks great. I mean, the edges are nice and soft where they're supposed to be soft. But when you get down to the tail, you can see the wispy hairs are real stiff. So that kind of gave me a hint that this was maybe cut out and a new background was put in. That was the only thing I saw, though. The other thing that I felt like was a little distracting is some of the dark spots over to the right. They should be taken out or toned down at least. And a few of the other ones, they're not as blended as some of the other areas. And then there's some kind of blotchy spots up in the top area too that could be toned down. The mat is light. Some people don't like that, but I really like this light mat on this. I thought it really made the horse pop. So I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
Okay. And Suzanne?
My score was 81, deserving of a merit. And the previous juror said everything everything that I was going to say, possibly technical excellence. The face of the horse is a little bit flat. but that's the way the day is. So, and it kind of, I guess there's nothing you can do about change the time of day, but it's a nice mirrored image.
Okay. And Kimberly.
My score was a 79, top of the above average category. And I think it's a beautiful image. I love the posing, if you can say that, for the horse and the negative space to the right. And I think the light night works as well. I might consider a thinner key line, but really what kept me from the merit category was all about the technical excellence, because going around the edge of the horse, I did question whether or not it's cut out, because it seems to go back and forth from soft to sharp and soft to sharp around the edge. And that's really what held me back. I think this image has a lot of potential, though.
Okay. Thank you, judges. I scored an 81. And our next image is In the Moment. In the Moment.
And Michael, category again, we're still in
Illustrative.
illustrative. Okay.
Yes. Scores a 77. And looks like Suzanne, you're up first this time.
I scored this a 77 in the above average category. It's a great idea, and it has a few issues in the technical excellence side. The contrast is very harsh, and I like the backlit of the horse, but it's the highlights are really bright, and the key line doesn't could be a different color. I think more harmonious. So those are my comments.
Okay. And Kimberly?
I scored this a 76, also in the above average category. And yes, I like the placement of the subject. I like the edge lighting. But Suzanne has already said a few things about the with the lighting and the technical excellence and the presentation that I'm agreeing with. That I do think this is beautifully done. I like the reflection in the water, on the sand, and I think this is a really good idea. The execution needs some work.
Okay. Sharon?
I love the color harmony, the blue and the orange together, and the light on the horse is gorgeous. I like the more grayed down purple background, so it has a lot of depth, and so that's really nice. What kept me back was the lack of detail in the front part of the horse. It looked kind of too soft and mushy, and where the light is hitting, of course, is nice detail, but on the legs it's not very sharp, so it's just more sharp on the shoulder and neck there. And I also could see a little halo around the back of the horse, and I felt like, I keep looking at it, but I feel like the horizon is crooked too. Must be just a little bit off, or maybe it's that white line back there that's kind of throwing me off. But and somebody already mentioned the key line stroke is too bright. I mean, the blue is fine, but it needs to be grayed down quite a bit.
Sharon, what was your score?
78.
Okay, great. Thank you, judges. Next image is Moondog. Moondog. The score is 74, and looks like Kimberly, you're up first this time.
Okay, and that is what I scored it. I will say it has impact when it first comes up, and creativity. I would not have thought to have the eyes like that, and so I commend the maker on that. The harsh contrast and the edges of the dog, the cutout feel of it were part of what held me back from going higher on this. Yeah, I'll leave that go to the other judges have things to say.
Okay, Sharon?
I thought it was interesting when it came up. It kind of was a little bit like startling and made you really look at it. So the impact was there, but the cutout feeling of around the edges made it look a little cartoonish, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think if those edges were softened a little bit, where it blended in just a little bit more, it might have worked. The blue background, because it's as bright and as saturated as the eyes, you don't have much depth, so it's a much flatter feeling to it. And so if that was changed and maybe grayed down just a touch, then it would make it feel like that was setting back a little bit further. But I forgot what was it 77, I think?
77.
I thought it was cute, and I didn't dislike it at all. I thought it was really clever, but those little things held me back, and who knows what it would score if you change that. I thought there was nice detail in the dog. When you look at it, there's really nice detail in the hair and everything. So it was just those few little things that held me back.
Okay, and Suzanne?
I scored this as 70 in the average category. It is impactful when it comes up because the blue is very blue. The lighting is pretty much flat. So a direction of light would, I think, improve this. The nose kind of really stands out. From the fur. The presentation is nice in terms of the stroke and the background. So I think with what the other judges have said, it could be improved quite a bit.
Okay, that's scored a 74. The next image is pomegranates. Pomegranates.
What category is this still?
This is still illustrative. Illustrative or open, depending how you look at it.
What was the title?
Pomegranates. Pomegranates.
Yeah, we can't spell that. I
Yeah.
put palm. I just said palm.
Palm is fine.
That's one of those words I have to spell, and let's spell check. Fix me
Spell
on
check
it.
works wonders on this one. Scored 79. And Sharon, you're up first.
I scored it a 78, and I love the colors in it. I think it's the idea and the fruit and everything that's used is really nice. I think the color harmony is really nice with the brown and the red. What held me back, though, was I felt like the cup was a little close to the edge on the right-hand side, the handle, and it was really bright. And the what I felt was really interesting about the image was the cut pomegranates in the back, and those were played down with the softness and the less light on them. So to me, that was the interesting part, and not the cup of just the seeds. So that's why I kept it at 78. I really enjoyed the mat and the way it was displayed, though. I thought that was really nice.
Okay, Suzanne?
I scored this a 80 in the merit category, just barely. I really enjoy it. I think it's impactful for the colors, and the lighting is beautiful on the pomegranates, especially the ones in the cup. As our other juror mentioned, even though it's not blown out or anything, the aluminum cup is very reflective, so I think it would be nice to tone that down just a tad, because that's where your eye goes and stays. The horizon line isn't straight, and that is really, really, you need to have that. And then lastly, the pomegranate that's cut in half and the little pile of seeds, there's a tangent there, and it would be better if there was just a little bit of space between the seeds and the bottom of that pomegranate. So just if they were just moved forward just a tad.
Okay. And Kimberly?
I scored it an 80, and it's pretty much all been said. I wanted to reward the maker for what I thought was a really nicely done image, beautiful presentation, color harmony. The horizon line was really tough for me, and I think that the cup could have been toned down a bit. So it's all been said.
Okay, that scored a 79. And next up is Rhyolite Whimsy. Rhyolite Whimsy. Scores an 80. And looks like Suzanne, you're up first.
I scored this an 81 in the merit category. It's very impactful, and it has a great story to it. There's a lot of things to look at, and so your eye is kind of moving around from somewhat circular from the woman holding the cord up to the moon, to the birds, and around. In terms of technical excellence, I feel like I can see a cutout of the building, and so that held me back from going any higher. And there's a nice presentation, and I would also like to see maybe her face just be a little bit lighter, because her face is totally in the shadows. Yeah.
Okay. Kimberly.
I scored this a 78 in the above average category. I really enjoy this image, and I love the story and the composition of it. What held me back from going into the merit category was the technical excellence and the lighting on her, especially the edges of the building in the upper right-hand corner, the tallest part of the building. And then there were a couple of other areas that my eye kept going to where it looks like there's a haloing or an edge around it. And that's what kept me from going higher. But I love the creativity and the story on this one.
Okay, Sharon?
I scored an 80, and I felt like I was honestly being generous at 80. I loved the image. I thought it was really interesting. It had some nice impact, and I felt like it had a nice whimsical kind of a story. But what really bothered me was the gold rocks behind it, because really it's hard to get beyond those gold rocks. They need to be toned way down, and the line at the top of the gold rocks is way too sharp, so we just can't stop looking at that. Where the other part of it, which is so whimsical and interesting, gets lost. If those were way toned down, or maybe even just taken out completely, and then all of a sudden now the girl becomes more important. She needs a little bit more light maybe on her face and a little bit redder color in her dress. But then all of a sudden you start to see the string going up to the sun, and the birds bring you back around, and that becomes the story, that becomes the focal point. But right now that gold color is just overpowering, so that's all we can look at, and that sharp line.
That scored an 80. And next up, still in the illustrative category, is Splash One. Splash One. Scored 79. And Kimberly, you're up first.
I scored this an 80 in the merit category. I will say I am assuming, because I know in Zoom it is hard to tell how tack sharp some images can be. And I am assuming that the sharpness is all there on this. I love the lighting that Maker did on this with the different colors of light and how it shows in the ripples, and the excellence in the camera settings that have to be done to be able to capture something like this and with your lighting. I think it would, so that was well done. I think the matting is a bit bright. I am drawn out to the edges, and I think if the maker is going to continue with this imaging competition, they might want to tone down the matte, and maybe, if possible, give a little more room so you can see all the way around the ripples, the whole circle of it. It's a little chopped off, especially on the left side, but nicely done with the capture.
Okay, Sharon?
I love the colors, and the blue and the purple. The white is perfect. We follow the drops down, and the bright reflection there where it hits the water is, you know, where our eye goes to. So that's all really nice. What held me back, I scored it a 78. What held me down was the black at the top and the black at the bottom. There wasn't any detail that I could see. And I'm also looking at it on my large monitor, so I couldn't see any detail either there. So it was really blocked up at the top and the bottom. And like Kimberly said, it felt squashed to me. And so I felt like that it needed more room and needed more interesting background and maybe some lines coming around, if you could see all of that circle coming around. And then the mat was, like Kimberly said, a little on the bright side.
Okay. Suzanne?
I scored this 79 in the above average category. There's been several technical issues pointed out. I really enjoy the creativity and the capture. And in addition to what's already been said, there's an area to the right, just near the beginning of the ripples, it's very white and there's no detail in it. I would think about removing that. And some of the other white spots around the edges, but I love the colors. It's really pretty.
All right.
Michael, one more thing before you go on. If you look close, and it's hard to see on laptops, but on my big monitor, the texture in the foreground is just beautiful, where it goes down into, that more solid drops. It's just gorgeous in there. And if the maker wanted to try to go further with this, if they had another one that was a little wider to bring out some of that texture and some of those ripples in the foreground. And I mean, it could be a really nice image just with a little bit of work, but that texture is beautiful.
That's the last of the illustrative category. Do the judges need a break, or you want to judge on?
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Then we're going to
Okay, I
judge
could
on.
take a 1 minute break if you don't mind.
Let's go ahead and take a 3-minute break. That way, if somebody needs to use the facilities, we'll pause
Thank
the
you.
recording. Okay, we're going to continue on with the landscape category. Images of landscapes, seascapes, cityscapes, nightscapes as the dominant element. People may appear in the image. So the first image up is Feel the Power. Feel the Power.
Uh-oh. Wait a second.
We'll get it. We'll get it. Hang on. We got it?
No.
No. We don't
Okay.
see your,
I'm sharing.
we don't see your screen, your
The
share.
power went out.
Hang on. Let me get sharing again. Share screen. Do it again.
There we
We
go.
have liftoff. Okay. Feel the power. Feel the power.
Oops. Oh,
We're good. We're good. And got that. And it scores an 84. And Sharon, you're up first.
I scored an 85. I loved it. I just think it's wonderful. I love the silhouetted trees. I like the little bit of hint of color behind the mountain, which makes that mountain stand out a little bit more. And I think the sky is really well done. The key line stroke is really subtle. I might have liked it a little bit more, but it's better to be less than more. So that I didn't count down for that, but I thought it was wonderful. The only thing that would make me score it higher, and I would have loved to have scored it higher, is if there was a little bit more of that pinky color over on the left extended over just a little bit into the center, and maybe just a little bit, that beautiful light that's behind the center tree extended out a little bit with maybe a little dodging in there. I would have scored it up in the 90s because I think it's really beautiful.
Okay. Suzanne.
I scored this in 84 in the deserving of a merit category. And timing is everything, and this was a perfect time. The Milky Way is just beautifully centered. It's beautiful colors. I like the composition with that one tree in the middle. So kudos to the maker.
All right, and Kimberly.
I think I was below one here. We're scoring an 82 in deserving of merit. And I will say this is not my area of expertise, something I've always wanted to do, but I think the capture of the Milky Way is incredible. And I love the silhouette at the bottom. What kept me back from going higher is what appeared to be a dark band of line from that tree going off to the left, especially. And maybe that is something natural that I just don't understand. But I was drawn to the contrast there to the line, and I kept going back to that. I also think maybe even a little larger mat might just help this pop a little bit more, but I think the presentation and composition, it's all very well done. Kudos.
Okay, that's scored an 84. Next up is Mobius Arch. Mobius Arch. That scores an 81. And Suzanne, you're up first.
I scored this in 85 in the excellent category. And I think it's impactful in that you have the this foreground element with the mountains in the background. The detail is or you can feel the actual grain of that rock. And so, I mean, it was creative that the person, the maker, put it in this sort of position. The presentation, it doesn't take away from the subject matter, so that's good. And lighting is good. So that's my score. Great job.
Okay. Kimberly.
I scored it an 80 in the deserving of a merit, and I'm not sure, and my own ignorance here, if this is an infrared or if it is a black and white of a non-infrared image. I will say it had a lot of impact. I love the shape, the composition of this. What held me back from going higher is what appears to be an outline, especially on the top part of the arch and on the inner part on the right. There's a little bit on the inner part on the right, what looks like a white line, and at the top it looks like a dark line. So it has a cutout feel, though I don't believe it is cut out. But I'm even seeing a bit on the top of the mountains over to the far right. So that's what kept me from going higher. But I totally love the composition and the impact on this. I would suggest a slightly toned down key line because I am drawn to the presentation a bit.
Okay. Sharon?
I think I scored in 78, right?
Yes.
I love the texture. I thought the texture was just wonderful. And I kept feeling like that I should be higher than the 78 just for the texture alone. It's so gorgeous. and the light on the rock just really makes a beautiful shape and form. But what held me back was the light spot down in the center, right on the edge. That's should have been toned down because it draws our eye down there to that lower edge. And then the other thing was over to the right hand side, the mountain in the background is soft, and so it has a lot of distance. But then when you get up to the top of that white mountain, and especially in the arch, it is tack sharp, and so it looks odd because it's so sharp to me. Why would it be that sharp if over on the right hand side on the edge it's soft? So I felt like it was a little bit of work is done on it, and it needed a little bit more work. And the texture is beautiful, so I think with some work it could easily be a merit print, but I think it still needs a little bit of work.
Okay, I scored an 81. Next image is moon rising. Moon rising. Scores a 78. And Kimberly, you're it.
I scored this a 79 in the above average category. I really enjoy this image. I think it's well done. I love the composition. I'm just drawn to go straight up the center to the moon, and then I'm coming back to the three boats and the bridge. And I really think this is nicely creative image. I think it was well done. I'm not sure about how sharp it is. It does seem to be a bit soft, and I think it's well done. But that's it. 79.
Okay. Sharon.
I scored a 70, what?
76.
76. I love the texture in it. I love the texture in the water. I like the silhouette boats, the bridge. And when I look really close, I think I see some little lights of maybe a cityscape behind that bridge, which I think is wonderful. What held me back, though, was all the blocked up areas down, especially in the bottom area. If that texture had been extended just a little bit to make us feel like it wasn't all black, that there was at least some of that beautiful reflection from the moon out towards the edges of the side edges of the image and towards the bottom. It doesn't have to be a lot, but some would have helped it a lot. And also the moon, I don't know, I think it's a little bit of a distraction. I think it would have been wonderful just maybe with a starry sky, or maybe the moon's too big. It just doesn't seem for me to, there's something odd feeling about it. And I think it's the size, and also of course it's soft, which is, I don't mind that so much, but I think it's so big and soft that it's like a bullseye back there, and it just doesn't feel quite right. I do like the presentation and the two narrow key line strokes, so those are really perfect. So I thought it was really nice. I think with a little bit of work and putting some texture on those outer edges and maybe making that moon just a little bit smaller, I think you could have a really nice image.
Okay. Suzanne?
I scored this an 80, deserving of the merit. And when it comes up, it's really quite impactful. And Moon Rising, that's a great title. And it tells the story, because if you get to see, it's rare that I do anyways, get to see a moon rising. And so it is a big, huge ball, depending on, if you're lower than it, and it does look like it is really big. I'm enjoying the reflection off of the moon, and showing the boats and the bridge, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. And that was a 78. Next image up is Muskegon Lighthouse. Muskegon Lighthouse. Scored an 81. And Sharon.
I scored an 84. I loved it. I love the lines in the grass. I love the soft, subtle colors of the foreground and those trees. I like the pop of color in the lighthouse. I love the gray sky behind it. I thought it was really beautiful. What held me back from even scoring higher was the light line on this right-hand side of the lighthouse. I don't know if that's something that's supposed to be there, but it looks like it's ghosted, like maybe a little blending work that wasn't quite blended in. And I also felt like that there was too much room on the right-hand side, that if it was cropped in a little bit, that it would be better, and it would take that lighthouse out of almost like a center feeling, so it was a little bit more better placed. I don't think you need all that area to the right. A little bit, I think, could come off and it would be better. But I thought it was wonderful. I really liked it.
Suzanne.
I scored this a 79 in the above average category. I don't see any detail at all in some of the areas of the snow, so that's a technical issue. I am enjoying the red lighthouse. One note is that if you, in your titles, that could add to the story instead of using just the name of the lighthouse. You could think of something like Standing Tall, or something a little different than just the name of the lighthouse. That would help the story. But it's a nice landscape. Yeah.
Okay. And Kimberly.
I scored this an 80. I really enjoy the image and the red of the lighthouse with the rest of the colors in the image. I agree with what Sharon had said about the composition. While I like the composition, I would also contemplate bringing in the right side a bit. And I also think with the presentation, the white key line really draws me out of the image, and even the black of the mat, I would consider something a little more harmonious, something into the brown that is there, darker brown, like of the trees or something. But I really enjoyed this image, and I thought it was deserving of a merit.
All right, that's scored an 81. Next image, Olivera Canyon. Olivera Canyon. scored an 82. And Suzanne, you're up first.
Okay, this is very impactful. And for me, it just touches so many different emotions. We have the very sharp sort of foreground that it just, brings you right in. And then there's this sort of nice soft valley, and then you have the mountains with the shadows and the highlights. It's just beautiful. And then you have a little bit more contrast in the sky. I just love the lighting on this. I love the subject matter. I think that even, I did scored in the excellent category. There was just a couple things. I'm not a fan of the presentation, and I think it would be stronger without the sort of less the thing on the sorry, the presentation on the outside. But beyond that, I just really am enjoying this image.
Okay, Kimberly?
I scored this in 81. I totally agree. The impact it had when it first came up was wonderful. And I love the painterly feel of the background here. And I commend the maker's creativity with the presentation. I would also consider a darker presentation on the edges instead of lighter, and I would consider which might look better. Part of my issue with not going higher, even though I absolutely love this image, is I felt I was going back and forth across this plant like I was looking for the subject matter. It was a lot to be the subject, and I would have liked it if maybe the lighting was brighter on one or two of the stalks, or and I just kept feeling like my eye was going back and forth across, where then I wanted to go back to the background and how soft and beautiful it was. So I really enjoy this, but I would consider toning down some of the brightness of the front plant.
Okay, Sharon?
Well, I'm the low man here, and I scored it a 79. And I love the texture in the foreground. I mean, the lighting and the texture and the sharpness is just beautiful. What held me back though was all the light in the clouds. I mean, it's really distracting because it was busy. The clouds were busy, and they were also really light. And then there were some dark ones. I'm talking about more on the left side, where there's contrast behind that light. And so my eye just kept being drawn up to that top left corner. And also along the bottom edge of the sky, I felt like there was a little bit of a halo, like maybe the sky was added. And I felt like the ghosted presentation on the outside was really distracting. I mean, I don't like it when judges talk so much about the presentation unless it's really off, because I think it's a personal, choice, and you're the one that goes back and forth. Is this one better or this one? And you choose this one for whatever reason. But in this case, I really feel like this was distracting, and a black border with, mid-tone gray thin stroke would really make it pop a lot more. But those are why I counted it down to 79.
Okay, thank you. Scored an 82 overall. And last in the landscape category is Sunset Bliss. Sunset Bliss. Scores a 78. And Kimberly, you up first.
Oh, well, I might be the low one here then. My apologies at 75, above average. I really think this is beautiful. I have some concerns with the technical excellence of the blown highlights where the sun is. And this is one of those cases, and I've had this myself with my images, where I would have suggested flipping the image. And I have always struggled with that because this is what it looked like. But I would have liked to have come across the image from left to right and made it over to this sunset. I also might have considered not having the horizon dead center here. And there is a spot right in the water in the beginning of the reflection of the sun. And while that might have been a bird or a rock or something, it's actually more of a distraction to me. And I would have suggested removing that spot. I think it draws attention. So.
Okay. Karen?
I scored a 78, and I love the colors. I love the lines that kind of go back diagonal across the image, the light in the foreground, sand, and then the reflection of the sun coming forward. That's really pretty. I love the band of orange, red color across the center. But what held me back was the sand feels dirty because of all the stuff that's on it. And so it feels real busy. And that's fine. But when it's all over, sometimes you need a place for the eye to rest. And it feels like there's too much of it. So some places where maybe there was some sand that people hadn't walked on or birds hadn't walked on, and there was some beautiful ripples in it or something, would have given us some beautiful leading lines. And the light that's in the sand, kind of the white creamy color that goes off to the right side in the middle, that where it goes off, that light area there is pretty bright, and it would be better if it was toned down. And I keep feeling like the horizon line is crooked. I mean, I go from the top down, and it may just be an illusion of the way the sun is kind of playing on the water, but you definitely might want to check that. And up at the very top, kind of over in the left there, there's some white clouds right on the edge. You would want to tone those, clone those out. And up at the very edge. Are you moving your cursor, Mike, to where
Sorry, I was letting somebody in.
Oh, okay. Right along the edge there, those should be taken out. And if it was my image, I would have put a lot more dramatic sky in it, because I think with a lot more dramatic sky, it could have really changed the whole feel of this image. There's too much blue up at the top. And so that's what held me back and kept it at a 78.
Okay. And Suzanne?
82 merit category. I'm just really enjoying the colors. I think that the rocks in the foreground are a really nice element, and it really pulls you back away from the sky and keeps you on the beach. I also really was bothered by that little spot that the other juror mentioned. I think it's a really well done sunset, and I scored an 82.
All righty, thank you, judges. Scored to 78. Moving on to our next category is the nature category. No man-made objects, no studio lighting or backgrounds allowed inside of here. And the first image up is flamingo. Flamingo. And it scores an 80. And Sharon, you're up.
I scored an 82. I love the curve of the neck. I like the way it comes around to the eye. I find myself looking at the eye. The feathers kind of give you some leading lines that lead you up into the face area. So I thought that was really nice. I might have been a little generous with this because there are some issues with, I think, some of the work that was done. I think the edge on the left is a little cut out feeling. It needs to be softened a little bit. It's not bad. It's close, but it just has, like, some of the feathers need to be maybe just a little softer. You just need to really soften them a little bit to make them feel like they're kind of going back into that background, and maybe a little bit thinner instead of coming out to more of a point. And the other thing is the down in the bottom right corner, the orange feathers down there, they're a little bit bright, even though they're toned down from the rest. To me, they're still a little bit bright because they're surrounded by the black. And so I tend to kind of make it feel like that my eye goes down that way. But I thought it was a beautiful image, and I love the orange against the black. So I think with some edge work done on it, and maybe a little bit of dodging to maybe bring the face up just a little bit more. The feather on that back on the right side is a little bit brighter than the light in the face. And if you brought up some lights in the face, now we would really look at that beak and face and eye area. But I think it's beautiful. I give it an 82.
Okay, Suzanne?
I scored this a 79 in the above average category. This is a great capture. It's very impactful. I'm enjoying the curved lines. And the color is very nice. I think if the maker wanted to try and improve a couple things, I'm seeing that the feathers, the white feathers kind of dead center in front, they feel to me like they have more detail than the face. And so that is, that's one thing. And in the bottom right corner, there's that sort of black area and then the more feathers. I'm not sure what that's all about. And then I might choose a little a subtler key line instead of the red. Something maybe a little subtler.
Okay. And Kimberly?
I scored this a 78. I also am really enjoying it. I love the capture and the shape of the neck. I was concerned with the technical excellence. I like the edge of the feathers over onto the right, how soft it is, and on the left it is just so sharp and jagged on the left side. And also the lighting and the sharpness on the face, if that could be improved upon, because I found I was looking at the feathers on the right, the feathers on the left, and the top of the head because of the bright spots, and not really going to the eye and the face. And I wanted to go there. So I think a little more work on this. I agree this could go much higher.
Okay, I scored an 80. Next image is Pray, Eat One. Pray, Eat One. Score 79. And Suzanne, you're up.
Scored this a 78, above average category. this is a great capture. And as a gardener, I really appreciate it. And I'm enjoying the lens that the maker used, because the background is nicely blurred. In terms of lighting, this feels like it was like dead noon or in the middle of the day. And I think that it could have been improved if it was not, the lighting wasn't so harsh. That results in like not very much detail in the praying mantis, and the flowers just also really bright. So with a few changes, I think continue on, and this will, future captures will be much better.
Okay, Kimberly.
I scored this a 79, top of the above average category. Again, great capture. I love the colors in this. The sharpness on the lower part of the praying mantis' body it's really sharp. I don't feel like the same sharpness near the head. So while I love the moment that's being captured, I was wishing it was sharper. And also I was drawn to the contrast of the upper part of his back with the brightness, how bright the green is, and then behind it, it almost looks like a dark green line behind. And so that was very distracting for me.
Okay, Sharon.
I scored an 80, which I think was probably on the generous side. I saw the sharpness in the lower body, and the face wasn't as sharp, but for me, the color harmony was so pretty with the green and the red that I tend to overlook it a little bit. I think it's the leg and kind of the claw looking thing there, that its leg, that's nice and sharp, but the eye and the face isn't, and that probably could be corrected. I didn't see the line until Kimberly pointed out along the back, but that would need to be corrected. But I thought the color harmony was beautiful, and maybe with a little bit of work to sharpen it, if you could do that in Photoshop or something, it might, I mean, you're close on every one of us to get a merit, so maybe a little bit more work would give you merit. I do think the stroke is too bright. I like that colored green, but sometimes when you put those strokes on there, if you put it on a separate layer and then just lower the opacity of that layer a little bit, sometimes that color works, but just lowering the opacity kind of makes it blend in a little bit, and it usually will work much better. But I like the color, but I think it's just too bright. But overall, I like the image, and that's why I ended up with giving it an 80.
Okay. Scored a 79 overall. Next image, Scream. Scream. Scored a 78, and looks like Kimberly, you're up.
Love this title in this image. This is chuckling. I gave it a 77. I love the negative space to the right. I love the expression. I think that the lighting on this guy is great too. I had some concern with technical excellence. I am struggling to find what's sharp in this image, and I think the ear, a little bit of the back of the head, but that is where I couldn't get past that to give it a merit that I wanted to. I totally just think this is a fun image, a great title, and yeah, it's fun.
Okay. Sharon.
I'm like Kimberly. I really, really wanted to give it a merit because I love the title. The expression is great. It made you chuckle when you heard the title. I like the grayed down background. It really pushes it back. And the little bit of light behind the squirrel makes him pop forward. But for me, it was all about the sharpness. I mean, if it had been sharp, sharp, I would have given it easily in the 80s. The out of focus leaf in the front bothers me a little bit too, but the out of focus squirrel is really what made me go give it a 78. So that's too bad because this is really a wonderful little image.
Okay, Suzanne.
I scored this 78, above average category, and it's been said.
Okay. Last image in the nature category is tree at sunset. Tree at sunset. And it scores an 80. And Sharon.
I scored a 78, so I must have been the low guy. I love the silhouetted tree. I love the colors. The birds are beautiful, and I like the little bit of light on them. What held me back from giving it an 80 was I felt like there was the tree and then there was the birds, and I'm going back and forth, and there was nothing tying them together. And when you have, a story like this, where, I mean, the title was Tree at Sunset, the maker is telling me that it's about the tree, but then we have the birds, that there's so many of them that I keep looking at the birds. So I don't know where really to look. And they could have been pulled together by maybe moving the birds over a little bit towards the tree. So now it's one unit instead of two separate things. I felt like there maybe could be a little bit more light in the sky to lead us from the birds over to the tree. That might have helped. The key line strokes for me were way too bright. They felt like they didn't have anything to do with the image itself because they were white, and there's nothing in the image that's white. Maybe a little bit of a grayed down orange would have been better. And that inside white stroke, especially along the bottom, that's not, it's just too bright. But, and I feel like the top part could have been darkened, along the top line, top edge, could have been darkened a little bit so it brought our eye down. But that was the reason I scored a 78.
Okay, Suzanne.
I scored this a 84 in the deserving of a merit category, and I'm really enjoying the whole feel of the image. It's impactful. It's a beautiful sunset. Trees are going by. It's it's kind of really nice image. I don't know if there is some kind of technique on it. It's a little grainy, but it actually, for me, it adds to the effect of the image. And I'm also enjoying the horizon line. It gives you the sense that, there's, you know, the hill or something there, and it's just a nice image.
Okay. Kimberly.
I scored this a 79. I really enjoy this image. It's beautifully done. A lot of my feedback has already been said, but I will say that the graininess in the ground was a distraction to me because I didn't feel like it matched the rest of the image. And the presentation really was a distraction. It seems like the inner key line on the top is not white, but on the bottom is. And as it has been said, it should be a color that's in the image and then toned down. I would have considered just keeping the inner key line and not having it be white at the bottom. But I did really enjoy the silhouette and the birds. I do feel like there's a little haloing around some of the birds, some white in between the legs and wings. That was a little concern for me technically, but really beautiful image.
Okay, that scored an 80. Photojournalism category is next up. Minor dodging and burning, dust spot removal, and adjusting curves. The only treatment allowed. Maker must be prepared to submit the original file at any point for verification. Basically, it's storytelling, and you can't take things out or put things in that weren't there or that were there that you want to take out. So, first image up is incoming. Incoming. Whoops. Let's try Flight of the Minuteman. Flight of the Minuteman. I got my notes confused here. Scores 82. And Suzanne, you're up first.
Okay, I scored this an 80, deserving of a merit. It's a great capture of the flight of the Minuteman. It's a beautiful sunset, and the reflection on the water is really great. I'm enjoying the clouds and the way you can see the movement of the Minuteman. One thing I wonder about is the stroke. It does disappear in at least on my screen in a couple of places around the left-hand side. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Kimberly?
I gave this an 84 in the deserving of a merit category. I really enjoy the composition and the colors. I think it's beautifully done. I just love the arch and how that just works right into the composition. In photojournalism, since dodging and burning can be done, I would have considered toning down just a little bit those lights of the building to the right and maybe a little bit in the reflection of the water, but I just think this is well done, well presented.
Okay. Sharon?
I scored an 82, and I felt the same way. I thought it was beautiful. Great capture. I agree with Kimberly. The reflection in the water is white versus the streak in the sky, which is yellow. So the white is actually attracting more attention than the yellow. So for me, I would tone down that white. So it was a little bit more grayed down. It's just too bright. And the same way with the building, it's just a tad too bright, but it works a little bit better because at least it's got some yellow in it, so it doesn't compete as much. But I would tone those two things down since you're allowed to do that. But I love the lines in this going diagonal, and then the bridge taking us back over there, and then the Minuteman going all the way up through the clouds, and the holes in the clouds enough to still see it. That's really beautiful. I thought, to me, it was well deserving of the 82. Yeah, and I agree with the stroke along the bottom. Yeah, the top and the sides are really nice, but because it's black on black at the bottom, it stands out more. So that would be one place where, it would be maybe add a layer mask and tone down that stroke where, it's black on black, so it doesn't look quite so bright.
Okay, there's an 82. And next up in photojournalism is incoming. Incoming. And that score is 78. And Kimberly, you get to go first.
I scored this a 79. I'm still chuckling. I love the title. This was a great capture. I like some of the settings that the maker chose because I like how much the background's blurred out. It's not completely gone. You can still tell the beach, the boats, but my part of my concern with going any higher was I just felt like the top of the bird, even though I love the eyes and I'm drawn right into the eyes and the beak, I feel like there's a lot of details on his top of his head and his body there. It could be on just how it's showing on my monitor, but it seems like blown highlights there. But it's a very fun image and a fun capture, and kudos to the maker on the timing. And the presentation is well done as well. It's not distracting at all. Which is what presentation should only add to it, not distract. So very well done.
Okay, Sharon.
Everything that Kimberly said, the blown out top of the bird, I scored it a 77. And for me, the reason it feels a little busy because the two figures, the boy and the girl, they're not interacting in any way with the birds. So the story is a little weaker because if they were like, ducking out of the way or something like that, it would be, the title is great, but they aren't even paying attention to it. So because they're not part of the story, they're like extra that don't have anything to do with the story, they feel like it adds to the busyness of it. So that's why I scored it a 77.
Okay, and Suzanne.
I scored it a 79 in the above average category. This has a lot of impact. The title is great. There's some technical issues that have already been mentioned. And I think you can crop in this category. So I might actually make it a square and crop the woman out because she's not really adding to the story at all. Yeah.
Okay, and yes, you can crop in this category. And that scored 78. And one more image we have in the portrait category, and it's called Cheryl's Sketch. Cheryl's Sketch. And it scores to 82. And Sharon, you're up first.
I scored an 80. I really liked it. I thought the face was well done. The little bit of effect that's added to the face is nice. There's a couple of spots that I would suggest being toned down, like the lines right across the forehead. There's about 1, 2, 3, 5 lines across. That was blended in a little bit. And also there's a kind of a dark area on her right ear in front of it and behind it, which would be better, especially the one in front of the ear, taken out or blended in. I like the pencil strokes in the other areas, the cross hatching, that was really nice. There's a couple places that kind of bothered me, only because they were the only place that it was, because I really like the strokes themselves. But for example, along the top, the arm on the top of her head, those dark areas behind make that arm come out just a little bit more. So I like those darks behind, but they're just kind of a line, and they're not blended in where they would be more of a stroke feeling. So those darks are just kind of there rather than blended in. But I like those darks, just like I like the darks along the edge of her neck on the right. It really makes, it gives it a little bit more dimension. And I think some of the areas around the outside is lacking that a little bit. I think with a little bit of work, more work on this, with adding just a little bit more of those dark strokes to maybe define the hair a little bit more, and around the arm and the shoulder and stuff. This could be really nice, because it's a great start on it. You look at her eyes, you know exactly what you're supposed to look at. So I think it's well done. Just needs a little bit more work, and I think it could score higher.
Okay. Suzanne.
I scored this an 83 in the deserving of a merit category. And I think it's a very beautiful piece of artwork. I am enjoying the composition and the coloring, and I'm going to defer to Sharon for all the critiquing she done as the artist in this group. No offense, Kimberly.
Thanks.
Okay,
You didn't
Kimberly,
have to add the last part.
you can defend yourself now.
Yeah, let me add her. No, I'm kidding. I scored this an 82. I am really enjoying this. I love the creativity. I love the technique the maker used. And I love the transition from, like, it feels like it's more realistic in the middle and then transitions out. And then the color is stronger in the middle and transitions out. I really commend the maker on having done that. I will say I do agree with, especially one thing Sharon pointed out with the darkness and the spots around the ear. It's almost like it's a darkening in a circle so that the ear is bright and stands out. It's almost like it's been framed. And once I saw that, I can't stop looking at it. So I would consider adjusting that a bit, because I feel like I just want to be drawn into the face and the eyes are where it's all at. And it's just incredible there. I would also, not to harp on the presentation, but this again is one to me that is distracting, and it's mainly the outer keystroke. But also it's been recommended to me in the past that the color of the stroke be the color of where you want the viewer to look. And so my recommendation here would be to take the color of the eyes and have the stroke be the color of the eyes, and then possibly tone down so it's not brighter than where you want to look. Because once I had heard that recommendation, I started doing that in my own work. I really found it's like a subtle hint to the viewer of where you want them to look. So that would be a recommendation. But I really think this is beautiful, and a little more work, I think this could go much higher.
Okay, thank you, judges. We do have to break a tie in a category, so let me
Wait,
get,
Michael, could
yes,
we possibly revisit one image?
yes,
It's the Milky Way image.
okay. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Okay,
I can't remember. I think I scored this in 85.
you scored this in 84, and it overall score was 84.
Okay, well,
What did I score it, Mike?
Sharon scored, or I'm sorry, yeah, Sharon scored it at 85 and Kimberly in 82.
okay, so I would like to revisit this because I want to raise my score.
Okay,
I want to raise my score to an 87.
go ahead and
And
state your case as part of the
okay,
challenge.
okay, so I scored this earlier a little low, and I really think it should be in the excellent category. And I mean, I remember I talked about the colors and the center of interest, and just the crop is beautiful. And so I just feel like it should be in that excellent category. And I urge my jurors to raise their scores into the excellent category. I will be scoring this an 87.
Where does the excellent category start?
85 to 89.
And I scored it 80.
85.
Well, I feel like I'm right where I should be, even though I love it, but I think there's still things that need to be done to it to raise it. And I would not hesitate to raise it if they were done. But Kimberly mentioned that hill on the left side going up. I love it where the trees are outlined with the sky, but there's a few of them where they get lost. I think it needs to be, some of that light needs to come across. And I would probably be up in the 90s. But until those things are corrected, I don't know that I would be doing the maker any favors to raise it, not really feeling like that I should. So I feel like it needs that glow behind. And right now it's got a little bit of it, but it's a little bit lacking in that area. You know, the glow right behind that center tree is beautiful, but then there's the pink on the left side, which draws our eye over to the left, which isn't good. So that pink needs to come over just a little bit into the center and behind that tree that's not really defined, and maybe that defined a little bit more, then I would definitely be up.
Kimberly?
So I believe I scored an 82, and I will say that part of what had me score so low, and I might have truly underscored this, and I'm glad Suzanne has brought it back up, was what appears like a dark band that's coming out from like that center tree and going to the left-hand side. Well, it goes to the right as well, but not as distinctly. And that might very well be a natural phenomenon, and I do not know that. And so I am not going to have that continue to affect my score. I will join the other jurors in the excellent category and raise my score.
Okay, rebuttal?
Well, I think that that band is a natural phenomenon because it's going all the way across slightly, and so I really do agree with you. And then in terms of the colors behind the trees, I mean, it's nature. So, you know, it could have been higher, a lot higher, if yes, that sort of middle clump in between the main one and the ones on the left would have had a beautiful color back there. But I think if it had, it could have moved up into another category. So I'm feeling good about the 87, and so join me.
Okay, let's rescore.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Scores an 86.
All right.
Good challenge. Okay, now we need to break a tie.
Okay.
So let me shop sharing for a second. Back here. And it is in the nature category. We have flamingo and tree at sunset.
How do we do it?
Um,
You just write in?
Write
one-
in one or the other.
Okay.
Right.
And this is for the category.
This is best of category for nature. By a vote of 2 out of 3, the tree is the best of category. Okay, now we'll take the best of categories and we will make them into best of show. One of them will be best of show. And to be best of category, you have to score 80 or above and be the highest score. So let's do a sort. By rating.
Good job, Mike, doing this all yourself.
It ain't easy, believe me.
I could play some Jeopardy music for you if you want.
It probably confused me. Let me double check to make sure I've got everything correct here. Okay. Share screen, go back to bridge, share again. And if you guys like, you can talk amongst yourselves, either eliminate, or if you got one in mind, pick it, or
This is for best of the,
best of show. We just do the best. We don't do 1, 2, and 3. So if you guys want a judge's choice, you can do that too. But most of the time we just do best of show.
How do you want to do it? Do you want to all just pick one and see if
if
somebody,
you get any duplicates.
yeah, if we get any duplicates, you want to do that?
Well, we could try that first. I think
Okay.
probably. Do you want to type it in or?
Yeah.
Okay. Or you can talk about it. Your call.
Well, let's see how far we are off. I have a feeling we might all be looking at the same one.
Probably.
I don't know. I'm torn.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, then you want to talk about it?
Let's try this first and then, do you want to? Or do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead. Because if at least 2 out of 3 are the same, then that's the best of show.
Hmm.
I'm popping all over the screen. That one, no, that one.
Judge 3, which would be Suzanne.
Wait, I'm on it.
Okay. No worries. I don't want to rush you. No pressure.
I gotta find find that Jeopardy music.
Do, 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 do,
Thank you.
do, do.
You don't want me to sing.
My wife never wants me to sing, so. Okay. So what I will do is I will eliminate those that didn't get a vote.
Good idea.
So let's command click.
And if there's 3 there, we know we all pick something different.
Command click. Command click. Command click. And guess
Wow.
what?
We all pick something different.
And actually, those were the 3 I was going back and
too.
forth between.
Me too.
It's interesting. This is the first time that I don't think everybody jumped out to one major one. So I'll let you guys talk about it, sell your image, and go from there.
Okay, I'll start. I struggled between all 3. I think they're all fantastic images and very different. I was drawn to the creativity of the sketch. And like I had said before, the contrast of the technique, the color and contrast itself, that from the outer part to the inner part, where it's more color, more contrast, and less technique on the image in the center, and I'm just pulled into it. And I am offering for you to join me on this one and get drawn into her eyes.
Okay. Sharon?
Well, for me, the sketch looks unfinished. The center part is beautiful. I go to her eyes, but the rest of it, as much as I like it, to me, it still has a ways to go and it feels unfinished. There's some areas that definitely need to be corrected. On the other 2, I love the little boy. I could vote for him, or the Milky Way. Either one, they're probably about even for me. If I was probably going to lean anyway, I'd probably lean maybe to the little boy now that I see them together. But I have a hard time with the sketch because I don't feel like it's, even as much as I like the face, the other parts of it to me aren't finished.
Okay. Suzanne?
I picked the little boy that was the Strike Mr. Empire. It's just, the lighting is just beautiful. His face is precious. The background is, so subtle, and it's just a great image.
I could go with that one.
Yeah, you're pulling me over because that is just the lighting, the presentation, the story, the expression. You got me over there.
All right.
Good sell,
Oh.
Suzanne.
So we have a winner.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, little
That
boy.
was the Strike, Mr.
Yes.
The winner and best of show is That Was a Strike, Mr. Umpire by Michael Collins.
Woohoo!
I questioned that. Nice job.
Thank you. Okay.
Who did the coffee beans?
Coffee Beans, Spill the Beans was Michael Collins.
Ooh. Good one. Who did the Milky Way?
Horse with No Name is Cheryl Decker.
Nicely done.
Feel the Power of the Milky Way is by Jeannie Sparks.
Nice job, Jeannie. Good
Thank
job.
you. I enjoyed that one.
Tree at Sunset was Larry Decker.
Can I say something about the Milky Way?
You will in a second.
Oh, okay.
We're going to go through them all and then let everybody talk about their images.
Are you showing the images right now? Because I'm not seeing anything change.
Is it showing it all for you guys?
Just seeing the little boy still.
The little boy is still there.
Okay, hang on. Let me.
Nice job, Jeannie. I'm glad Suzanne challenged that.
Thank you, Suzanne. I really appreciate that.
Okay. So if things go right, horse with no name,
Hmm.
that is Feel the Power. Flamingo, no, Tree
No,
at Sunset
yeah.
is Larry Decker. Flight of the Minuteman is Michael
Michael
Collins.
Collins. I was guessing.
Not too many other people shoot missiles.
That's
No.
beautiful. Beautiful job.
And Charles Sketch by Larry Decker.
That was beautiful.
So we'll
Nice
start
job, Larry.
on this one. Larry, you want to talk about it a little bit? You still
All
there?
right.
I don't
I only
think
see 6 of us here right now.
Okay, so they're not here anymore, so we'll cancel that one. Flight of the Minuteman, that was at midnight.
Wow.
And the orange is actually from the Minuteman missile lighting up the sky. That's a 30-second exposure.
Where are
Oh
you
my
standing?
God.
I was close to between Ocean Park and Surf Beach. There's a little hill that I just pulled off the side of the road, climbed on top of the hill, and waited for 25 minutes for the missile to launch. And
Well, nice placement and nice timing.
Wow.
so that was fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Larry Decker, which is Tree at Sunset. He's not here again, but congratulations on a great image. And Feel the Power, Miss Jeannie Sparks.
So that dark banding was in the original photo, and I don't know what caused it, because I was
Okay, I was wondering, and I was willing to give in on that.
I was thinking, I was wondering if I shouldn't do something to try to get rid of it, like you're burning in the sky above it or something. But it was there, and so
Were you
That's one of the
talking about
things
the
I've
dark
always been,
banding?
I've always been,
Where were you talking about the dark banding?
from the left side to right past the tree,
Oh.
there's kind of a blue line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that, but I just thought it was a cloud. But what I was talking about was the blue glow underneath that front tree. If you just took a Dodge layer and took it straight over to the left-hand side over into the pink area, that would just make all those trees glow if you just made it more backlit. And I think, I mean, just a little bit of that would really add a big punch to that.
Well, I appreciate that comment. What about do I need to do the same thing over on the right-hand side?
Well, you could just kind of filter it out over there because you want to look, you don't want to do the same all the way across. But the one thing that bothered me was that beautiful pink behind the left-hand tree where it silhouettes that left-hand tree. Well, that's warmer than the blue that's behind the middle tree. Well, warm colors attract your eyes. So if you take some of that pink and you just kind of pull it over more into the center, and then you pull some of that light back over to the left edge and kind of pull them together, it would really silhouette all those trees along that mountain, and I think it would be a stronger image. Don't make it too light though, or you'll take away from the Milky Way. But
Right. Okay. Well, I like that idea. I'll work on that.
my concern with that stripe, Jeannie, is I was assuming it might be something natural, but that's one of the things is you can't explain to the judge. So if somebody thinks that you darkened something and accidentally had a strong line, then they're the judge, they're right. Like in that instant when they're judging, there's nothing you can say at that point.
Yeah, and so I was thinking maybe I should try to do something to make that disappear, but it was there originally. So I thought, well, it's there.
And maybe just to soften it, if you can do it without it looking unnatural, and I'm not sure if you can. So.
yeah, you can easily do it. All you got to do is make a selection of the sky that the stars right above it, a big area there, and then just move it over to that area and blend it in and just lower the opacity and it'll just soften it. You won't even have to do much. Just make a selection.
Okay.
And one comment I have on it is on your strokes, make sure that they're even all the way around, because the side strokes are small and the
I was going to mention
top and
that too.
bottom.
Yes, I see that a lot, actually.
Well, I do it that way because I can start with my stroke my image from the center and just, you know, you can center it when you're doing I think option shift and move, and you just center the other thing and move it too. So it's perfectly centered, but it makes for the lines being shorter on the sides, on
Yeah.
two sides than two others.
They just need to kind of even them up so that there's nothing to distract the judges from at all.
Okay, well, look at that next time. I'll do that next time.
I'm not judging, but I'm judging you.
But you judge quite a bit.
But you're saying
You're very
the
judgmental.
canvas, the outside canvas, because it's thinner on the sides than the top?
Right.
I actually
The
like that
second-
because to me, it emphasized the vertical line of the Milky Way. When I saw it, I mean, I kind of like
Not
that.
not the canvas, but the key lines.
Oh, I can't see the key line.
See if we can zoom in a little bit. You can see whoa.
Oh, yeah, I just got a glimpse of it. I see what you're
Hang on, let me get back here again. 1 second, I screwed up. Okay, like on the side, the key line's really close, and on the bottom, the key line is separated pretty good.
Oh, yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that differently next time.
Oh, one other thing while we're talking about it is there's like one like really bright star, kind of
Yeah,
like third of the way up. What do you guys think? I would probably remove that.
it's a planet.
Oh, a planet. I don't know.
Jupiter.
Kind of a hot spot. What does everyone else think?
Well,
I
I
would-
think if you know that kind of photography, and you're going to know if that's missing, because that's something supposed to be there, right?
Like
Well,
the
it
North
depends
Star?
on the time of the year if it's there or not.
It could be toned down, though,
Yeah.
a bit. So it's there without being a hot spot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good thing for discussion.
these are good. I appreciate it because I want to work on this photo some more. So these are very helpful.
I think you should, because I think it has amazing potential. I was actually just
Yeah.
screen captured and pulled it into Photoshop and was trying to make that band be not as bad, just adding a layer with a mask. Because it looks like it has less contrast above and beyond and below that one band. But I don't know, play with that, Jeannie. Do something.
Yeah.
You got this.
I'll work on that.
Make some magic.
Yeah, I'll try.
I know
Okay.
a Photoshop guy if you need some help on that.
And I
Oh,
take
Sharon.
I go to his Photoshop party every week.
Okay, this one is A Horse with No Name by Cheryl Decker. And she's not on anymore, I don't believe.
We can't see it.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, we're difficult. Sorry, Michael.
No, the computer.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, that is Cheryl Decker, Horse with No Name. Oh, come on. And Spill the Beans. I bought a pound of coffee at the store, had a brown bowl, and decided to play.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
I added some steam to it, but it just didn't look natural when I did it, so I just redid it and left it
I
without
like
the
how you
steam.
did the presentation. I just think that it should be darkened down a bit because it pulled me away from the coffee.
Yeah.
I
When it-
like the treatment you did.
If I do too dark, you're not going to see that treatment, the shadow all the way around. But
Yeah.
But just gray it down so it
Yeah.
doesn't have as much color. It shouldn't be more colorful than the color that's in your image, and it is. It's a little bit more.
originally I went with a darker cocoa color.
Like the bowl.
Yeah, not quite as dark as the bowl, but I pulled the color out of the bowl. And this one was one of the beans, I think, that I pulled the color out of. And last but not least, my great grandson.
Aw, that's great.
Adorable. I love
Oh,
how one leg was up, one was down. I love the expression. I do agree with what I think Sharon had said. It's like the shirt is brighter than the face. I toned down the
is.
highlights in the shirt and his arm
Yeah,
on that
tone
side.
down the shirt.
yeah, I toned it. That actually was a brand new uniform. and I toned it down in Photoshop, and I probably should tone it down a little bit more. I think I made it dirty in Photoshop.
Well,
Okay.
the dirty part's good, but the
Yeah.
part that looks clean should
Yeah,
be more gray because, and then maybe just a little highlights on the highlights that are there, just bring them up just a little bit more. So
okay.
we
I would,
look at the face.
I'd also just slightly tone down his ear. It's quite bright.
Okay.
And a little highlights in his hair. Just take the Dodge and just, what's already light, just bring it up just a little bit more in a
Mhm.
few places so you can raise the eye up instead of letting it go down.
Okay.
And the
Cool.
mitt, see that line of light on the mitt?
Darken it down a little bit.
Just a tiny bit. I mean, you're not talking much, but
Right.
when you look at it, just concentrate where the lights are, and are they up at the face or are they down low?
Right.
And change, so it's up high.
I actually love him dead centered like that, though. It's just perfect as far as the impact of him.
With the story, I think dead center has to work here because he's arguing with the umpire, and he has that look.
He does. It's great.
He has that look.
How did you get him to make that look? Did you piss him
Tim.
off?
Oh, that was, I think,
Stop taking my picture.
pretty much. This was like picture number 3, I think, and that was out of 4.
Oh,
He gave up. And when he played boxer, I mean, I couldn't get him to stand still for that. So he's 2. What can I say?
It's a gorgeous image. You know
He's
what? That would look great printed on a matte metal from Bay.
a matte metal from Bay.
Matte metal. Yeah, it would just pop.
nice.
Are they still calling it Bay, or have they changed?
I don't know. I haven't seen any more information about that since the announcement. I
Yeah,
was surprised to hear that.
I was very surprised to hear that because I thought Bay was like,
Solid.
yeah,
And I thought stronger than the